First boy here. We're gonna grab old Perry. Hey buddy. Yeah, you're first. Where are you going? Oh yeah, I gotta get that one bite. One last bite every time. Come on, buddy. This is Perry. Over here, buckwheat. Get him cross-tied up. Kind of what I figured on doing today is just like a basic everyday shoeing. Perry here, he's kind of got a little bit of navicular changes going on in his front end, and what I do is I just put in like an omnidirectional roll in the front half of the shoe just to help ease some breakover for him, and I'll just kind of take you through the process. We'll toe clip him as well. He kind of is a mild level jumper, event horse or whatever, so you got to clip them, otherwise all that torque and stress from jumping, the shoes would just pull right off. So we'll toe clip them in the front, quarter clip them behind, and I'll just take you through that process today. Let's get into it. Oh. Yank our front shoes off here first. These actually may reset again, so you may just get a reset on the front. Some new Hinds. Definitely doesn't have like a ton of sole depth going on here. We can see that already. Getting the seat of the corns area. And I'm not going to get into this any at all, so that's already worn away and it's basically bottomed out. Just coming up with the game plan before, as you're working on them. Now we'll nip some of this length off. Now let's sight it. Let's make sure we can get it flat. Now let's rasp it flat. start at the high spots and blend them in with the low spots, essentially. This is what we do. Side it for flat again. Pretty dang close there. This is why it's important to have sharp knives. So that way you don't have to go worry about taking big chunks out with dull knives. Like here, there's not much to knife out, and I want to be really precise with how much I'm taking off. This tiny little hook right here, so I'm trying to rasp the hook out of there so that way it flows just a little bit nicer. Just a tickle over 5 wide. So we got our right front here. We'll start by pulling this off. Yeah, and I remember last time when I did them, there was a pretty good chunk missing right in this area here. So only got 2 nails. Got the toenail and the very last heel nail in on him. Out, and this one's going to be trimming up fairly close to the same as the other with not a ton of sole depth, just naturally debrided. Start knifing it out. The same thing, I don't want to get in here any, just because that's already bottomed out just by nature and the moisture we have here in Western Washington. Not gonna have to do much frog trimming, that's for sure. Now we'll nip our length off. Couple tiny little pebbles stuck right here. It's gonna wreak havoc on my rasp. So try and get them out with a little nail. There we go. Sight it here. Check for flat before we rasp it. So that way we know where we got a rasp and where the high spots are. So just got a little bit of a high spot right here. Kind of right there at the inside, so make it pretty easy rasping. Start at the high spot, blend it to the low spot. Now as I'm kind of gathering this up with my rasp, I'm just looking for uniform wall thickness. Like pretty narrow here just because that chunk is missing, but I'm wider here, and it's got a weird transition at the toe, so where it's flat and then makes a sharp radius there. I'm just gonna take right here a little bit with my rasp and make it a smoother transition. Doesn't take a ton, and there. I made it a little bit nicer transition all the way through. Measure, and this is just about 5 1/16 wide. Get our shoes in the fire. My forge is falling apart really bad. I need to get a new liner in it. But it's working, it gets the job done for now. Get these lit up, and then we can burn them on. Rasp all the junk, or brush all the junk out of there. To get your shoes flat right now. Because otherwise, what was the point of flattening up our foot when we trimmed it? We're just going to burn on an unlevel shoe. Start off burning our right front on. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get my toe clip burned in. Make sure I'm centered up on the foot. Thanks, buddy. Now, when I knife this out, I'm going to start at the top of the clip. At the tip. It's easy to knife out the base. Got to get the top of the clip knifed out. Burn it in some more. Oops. There. Now we got contact all the way around. Rasp off our sharp edges here. So basically, what burning on the horseshoes does is you're checking to make sure that it fits. And you're creating a solid union between the shoe and the foot. So these black marks on the shoe, it's exactly where the foot is in relation to how the shoe is fit. So I can see I'm right there on the edge of the inside there, or the outside. So that just needs to come out just a tiny little bit. It's what we consider tight. It's called tight. If it were to be out, it would be called full. Fit full. So at my heels, I just need to come out just ever so slightly. So let's burn on the other one. Just like our right front, first thing we want to do is get our toe clip burned in. We want that center of the foot lined up with the frog. Now we'll do a little knifing. Start at the tip, top of the clip. It's better to just knife out the clip source versus just constantly burning it. Because you can overburn feet, and it can cause a lameness if you just sit on there and just scorch it. Now we've got full contact all the way around. Rasp off our sharp edges. Just like before on the other one. Got our, so I'm a little bit tight there on the inside. That just needs to kick out just a little bit. Now we can nail it up. Still flat, that's what we want. So the nail of choice I'm going to be using today is the Capewell Slim Blade 5 Endura. The Endura coating. So basically what I do is I get half the nail drove on the first one, and then I switch over to the other side and drive the other one in on the first two nails. Because otherwise, what happens if you nail in the nail all the way in the beginning, it's actually going to shift your shoe over just a little bit. It's not going to fit exactly how you wanted it to. Get our last toenail in here. Easy, buddy. Clinch block it with our pull-offs. Just doing 2 hits. Just to make sure that nail's fully seated in the shoe. Nail on the other one. Up you go, big guy. So now we're just repeating the same process. So what I'll do So take the first nail, get it about halfway drove in there, and we'll come into our second nail. Finish driving first nail, and you finish off that one. So actually I nailed up that inside before I nailed up the outside, just because when I put the shoe on there with that nail, it slightly shifted over a little bit that way. And believe it or not, you can shift that shoe just ever so slightly by nailing up one side before going to the other side. And you're not going to get like a ton of movement. It's only a matter of maybe a 32nd or a 16th. But that's all it takes sometimes, just to move it over and make sure it fits correctly. There we go, and we're nailed up. Now we'll clinch them. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to nip off our nail head. You nip it off just with enough so that way you can grab it with your pull-offs here. Just drag down just a tiny little bit. Come in with our rasp. Rasp the top. Get it to a shorter length to create a nice strong clinch. Undercut the nail. Top of the nail. Undercut it. Now we come in with our gouge. We push in, scoop up. Push in, scoop up. Push in, scoop up. Drag down, squeeze. Drag down, squeeze. You want it so like 1, 2. Now that rasp or that clinch is smooth, and that's what you want. You don't want clinches to be rough and hanging out of the hoof wall. And another big thing is like, take pride in your work and don't leave rasp marks in the foot. It's like a huge, huge peeve of mine. Ever since day one of college. It was instilled in my mind, don't leave rasp marks in the foot. Easy, buddy. Hang on. Almost done. Now we sand it up. Got a tiny little bit of flakiness, so I'm just going to get rid of that. There. Bada bing, bada boom. Smooth as a baby's bottom. Do the other foot. There we go, a little bit better. So we cut off our nail head. Grab our pull-offs. Drag down a little bit. Now we take our rasp, undercut, undercut, gouge, push in, scoop up, push in, scoop up. Hey, don't bite me. That will make me very unhappy. Grab our clinchers, drag down, squeeze. You're not having to squeeze a ton, just enough to get that clinch sit into your gouge. You can actually cause lameness by squeezing too hard. So basically what happens is, if you squeeze too hard, that clinch will pinch in and then actually hit the lamina, or the wet line, I guess. Sand it smooth. By golly, Miss Molly. Looking good, Terry, looking good, buddy. Smooth as a baby's bottom. Which is probably hard with hard hands like mine. There we go. There we have it, folks. Just kind of run of the mill, everyday shoeing. Just out here in the field working. Old Perry boy. He's a good boy. That's the fronts, and then kind of just put in some clips of doing the hinds. Probably have to do some new shoes there. Fronts were a reset. I like it when they reset. So let's keep at it. On to the next one. Get our sole knifed out. It's got a little bit more depth back here behind than they did on the front. Not a ton, but nip off our length. Check the shoe that we want to use. That's going to be it. Measure our width. We're at 4 9/16. Call it 4 5/8. Gonna quarter clip. Start by drawing out our source material. Using a cone hammer. Flatten behind it. Push up, pull back, push up. Now we'll use the heel of the hammer to draw out our source. We're going to draw it out, flatten behind it. Up our left side.